Hey y'all, it's your girl Gemini Jazz with House of Chiron, and we are back with another episode of Galactic Gossip. So welcome in, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, first off, thank you for being here, but go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you will not miss a beat. If you are returning to my channel, then you know exactly how we do things, and welcome back. I hope last week was really good. So with that being said, we have a lot going on this week, and I am a day late and probably $1 short to getting y'all this forecast for the week ahead, because it is a lot popping off for this second week of April. Okay, so before we dive into all of that, I just want to get these announcements out the way. We have the $10 April forecast readings that are available up on the website. You can get your sun, moon, rising for $10 each, or you can buy all 12 if you feel inclined to doing so, or you can join the Celestial City website, Celestial City membership, where you get all of those readings that's included in the membership, plus you get a new moon ceremony and a full moon Reiki ceremony on top of many other features that come along with that membership, and it's all for $33.33 per month. So for the equivalent of buying all of your readings for your sun, moon, and rising, you can just purchase the membership and it's all the same. So anywho, now we also still have the year ahead readings. Those are on sale. Those are being sold for $16.99, and it gives you the entire year ahead for your sun, moon, or rising, depending on, if you want to go with your rising, because that is primary, your sun is secondary, and your moon is last but not least. So $16.99 for the year ahead readings. And as always, I have all of my astrology reading services available. You can get your natal chart, your solar or your lunar return readings, and you can mosey on over to my website and see the pricing for that, and go ahead and purchase that if that is something that you are interested in, especially for all of you Aries and also Taurus people who are looking to see what this solar year is going to bring for you, and your birthday is here or quickly approaching. So go ahead and dive into that. Also, the Chiron candles are launched, and they are restocking this week, so they will be available by the end of the week. And yeah, you can go ahead and put that on your calendar that by Sunday you can start making purchases for the Chiron candles. They will be back in full stock. So I sell 10 at a time, so I only make a total of 70 candles at a time. And last month, when I first launched them, they sold out. So before the month was even over, clearly. So now I am restocking them, and they will be all available, 10 for each chakra. So there's 7 chakras and 70 candles total. So go ahead and get your Chiron Reiki infused soy candles. Okay. Also, I have an event that's happening tomorrow. I have a pop-up. If you are in the Austin area, I will list that information on my website, as well as on my social media platforms, so you can meet me there. I will have some candles on deck then, and also just a list of my services in case you want to book a reading or anything like that. All right, so that should wrap up all of the announcements. Now let's dive into this week's forecast. We will be covering the energy for April the 10th all the way through to April 16th. And starting off on April the 10th, we have Mercury, which is in the sign of Aries, making a square to Pluto in Capricorn. So this is that cardinal energy. It kind of wants to get things going, but there needs to be some type of transformation, some type of regeneration possibly that needs to happen, right? Mercury has been, speeding up our abilities to process information since its ingress into Aries, right? And so think about what Aries is. Aries is action oriented. Aries, it comes where it's like, as soon as a thought comes up or a task comes about, we are right on top of, creating a plan or executing it, right? Whether it's mentally or actual physical execution that's happening. Now, with this challenging square aspect to Pluto, Pluto is very powerful. This is going to basically we're bound to take decisive action on the revelations that we come up with on this day. So our point of view, it might be changing, right? So something might come up that kind of causes us to go deep on a psychological level. Something profound might come to the surface. Something might be revealed to us about how we think, how we have been perceiving the world, how we have been going about, initiating certain things, right? And we need to kind of create a new plan. And Pluto is just saying, hey, this foundation that you've built, what you have created, what you have built needs to kind of get a makeover. It needs to be completely destroyed and rebuilt, or you need to rethink it, look at it from a different angle. And so our point of views are really profound at this time, and it could even become a bit extreme with, certain ideas that come up on this day. It is a time to challenge our way of thinking and allow those unhealthy perceptions that live within our psyches to unravel, allowing the transformation to occur. Now, we could adopt a new way of communicating or thinking altogether if we take the high road by going deep within, instead of blaming and instead of creating power dynamics and, deceptive energy, or maybe even skepticism, instead of going that route, but just kind of go within, go into your psyche, understanding yourself, right? Doing those types of self-aware, tactics instead of externalizing the energy, is more internal. Okay, there might be some disruptive arguments that can occur, especially if we are not looking at ourselves first and foremost. Still, we could avoid the conflict, like I mentioned, and transform instead if we desire to understand ourselves first and then the environment and others thereafter. Okay, now on the very next day, Mercury, after it, it's at its anaretic degree on the 10th, right? So it moves into Taurus on the 11th. So that energy on the 10th of Mercury being in Aries is really potent. It's a wrap up. It's an ending of something that is no longer going to be here. It's like you process something, you get through something, and you move on. All right. Now Mercury is in Taurus, and it happens on April 11th all the way through to April 29th of 2022. And so Mercury has about a good 3 weeks of this transit where, it's going through the sign of pleasure and practicality, and this energy tends to ground our thoughts and our ideas. So what we came up with the day before, right? Those profound revelations that came up within our mental capacities, we could ground them and be practical about the approach to them, right? Creating a plan, creating a future, how we're going to forge forward on, doing these things, right? Now we can embrace our stable mindset under this influence, as we are allowed to kind of like conjure up a sound approach to towards our ambitions, right? So Mercury in Taurus, it projects a softer tone when we communicate with one another. It allows our directions to kind of flow easy because it's all about the things that bring us pleasure, and it's also Taurus is ruled by Venus, so it's about beauty. Now, keep in mind also that although this energy of the transit normally manifests beautifully and, very grounded and whatnot, we have Uranus also in Taurus. So that's creating those unexpected changes and that chaotic kind of vibe that's going to be here over the next 3 weeks. And Mercury is also going to be inching closer and closer to Uranus. So over the next 3 weeks, we might encounter some challenging, even liberating or shocking news that might shake up our worlds. And as Mercury moves closer to Uranus, it might even trigger our anxiety, any nervous system issues that are there. We might have like real nervous energy, kind of, not feeling settled in our bodies. And it's because Mercury and Uranus both rules our nervous system, right? So that fight or flight might kick in, something might shake your world, something unexpected might come up, and then you just kind of figure out, do I need to run or do I need to, fight? Like, I don't know what to do. So that anxiety might come up during this time. Now, also another thing, we have the lunar nodes that are in, the Taurus and Scorpio. So the lunar nodes, they're bracing themselves, so to speak, for this Taurus lunar eclipse that happens at the end of the month. So as Mercury is transiting through this, right before it moves into Gemini, we have that the partial lunar eclipse that happens in Taurus, and the lunar nodes are there also. And so it's helping us to, plan towards our motivations on the path ahead, but also it can help us kind of create a solid plan in achieving these things, right? But pay attention to the occurrences and the synchronicities that are coming while Mercury is in Taurus, because that Uranus energy plus the North Node is there, and Mercury is going to be making that opposition to Scorpio, the North Node, the South Node in Scorpio. So there's going to be some things from the past that could come up right before Mercury goes into Gemini, and then it, goes retrograde. So anything that comes up during this time, right, while Mercury is in Taurus, we may have a revisit of those things that come up, especially in June when Mercury goes retrograde and dips back into Taurus on June the 3rd, okay? So keep that in mind. Now I'm gonna talk briefly about this Jupiter conjunct Neptune that happens at 23 degrees Pisces, and this happens on April the 12th, but there is going to be a video that you can go ahead and watch regarding this Jupiter conjunct Neptune that gives a lot more detail. So I'm just going to kind of give a general thing on this before I move on. But if you want more information about the Jupiter conjunct Neptune energy, go ahead and get that video. So both Jupiter and Neptune, they rule the sign of Pisces. And so when these two come together, it's a time for spiritual development and whatnot. And it's also a time where personal truth comes out. Now, Neptune and Pisces, Pisces is Poseidon, it's the deep, right? So Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. And so there might be some floods that happen during this time. It might, whether it's leaks around the house or actual natural disasters, it could be on different scales. So what we can expect is to feel more optimistic, to feel more grateful, right? But at the same time, Neptune is about dissolving things, and Jupiter is about expanding things. So as something is trying to die away, something new or something that's existing is trying to expand or grow. And it happens a lot within spirituality, also within our beliefs as well. So creativity might be something that comes up during this time and whatnot, but keep that in mind that this happens on April the 12th. And if you want to know more about this transit, you can go ahead and catch that video after you finish this one. Of course, go ahead and catch that video about this conjunction that happens only every 165 years, I believe. So there you have it. Now, moving on, we have Jupiter in Pisces making a sextile to the North Node that's in Taurus, and this happens on April the 13th, okay? So as Jupiter sextile the North Node, Jupiter expands anything that it encounters, like I was just saying about the conjunction that it has with Neptune, right? So as Jupiter expands, things that it's coming into contact with, and in this case, it's going to be our subconscious motivations because of the North Node, this is going to be stretching that energy beyond its limitations, right? So Jupiter provides opportunities and the optimism to appreciate the blessings that are being presented at this time. So we might be feeling gratitude. We might be feeling ready to push forward ahead on those paths that we are trying to reach. And it could even be levels of enlightenment and joy that we're trying to obtain, and we might be actually obtaining these levels of joy and enlightenment that we've never experienced before, right? The North Node is uncharted territory, right, that we strive to achieve. So while transiting through Taurus, the North Node, right, is transiting through Taurus, we are redefining our sense of pleasure, our sense of stability, our values, our material possessions, and even what is a relationship goal anyway, right? So think about those types of things. And at this time, Jupiter is going to be giving us that added push, that optimism, and the opportunities to actually have the things that we desire, right? The motivations that we are trying to seek, right? These areas, the pleasure, the partnerships, all these things, the money is going to be giving us the opportunities to actually obtain these things. So on this day, we could, experience good deeds and efforts from our past, right? So because South Node is in Scorpio, and that's the past. So we could be experiencing these good deeds from the past that yield spiritual or even financial wealth present and futuristically, okay? Now, moving on, same day, April 13th, the sun in Aries is going to sextile Saturn in Aquarius. So there's like a laundry list of things that we need to get done. And today's transit is here to assist us, right? So on April the 13th, it's going to be assisting us in getting things done, taking care of business, right? Patience and perseverance are the key words associated with this energy. And so our work ethic is solid on this day, right? And we can, practically tackle issues and tasks and anything that might come up that we need to get, taken care of. So Saturn has been in Aquarius, and it's been helping us to meet whatever goals we set out to achieve, but we must do them with consistency and discipline. And on the other end, we have, a serious approach towards these achievements. So this serious approach that we have can create the advancement that we seek in these areas, right? So we probably will not have a desire to go relax or indulge in leisure activities. We're not going to be feeling lazy at all. We're going to be feeling really focused, determined, and ambitious on this day. Okay. Now, the very next day, we have Neptune in Pisces making a sextile to the North Node in Taurus. And this happens on April the 14th. And, just pay attention to your dreams with this one. Some messages, they lie between this realm, the physical realm, and the other realms that are unseen. We can tap into that divine knowledge by remaining open and paying attention to the synchronicities, our psychic abilities, our sensitivities, right? Our intuition, all of these things are enhanced under this influence of this Neptune sextile, the North Node energy. So, North Node is that subconscious energy. So keep that in mind. Your intuition is going to be heightened, and this is going to be allowing us to use our psychic abilities and our intuitive capacities at our will, right? So connecting to the divine, so that way we get those messages on what we need to do next. Where is it that we're going? How do we get there, right? That connecting with the divine on the inside, right, within, leads us to opportunities that assist us in fulfilling our destiny, okay? Now, moving forward, we have Lilith entering into Cancer, and this happens on the same day, April the 14th, all the way through to January 8th of 2023. So it's not quite a year in the sign of Cancer, but it spends quite most of this time, so for the rest of the year. So it's over 6 months of this energy being in the sign of Cancer. And so as Lilith enters Cancer, an indication for the darkness within is calling us to heal others concerning the maternal feminine, the emotional regulation, and our relationships with the ability to nurture and care for ourselves and others. That's that feminine quality, that feminine energy. We can expect to experience healing due to, the relationships that we have with the connection of the feminine energy, whether it's our mothers, feminine energy in general. However, now healing and embracing the wildness that lives within our feminine energy will provide us with more confidence, more security, and self-acceptance, okay? Now, alternatively, we might see the feminine versus the feminist dynamics that come out and, playing out, and playing against one another, pinning each other, pinning women against each other, and so on and so forth, for dominance, over the darkness, so to speak. And I don't mean dark in a negative aspect, right? We have to have that darkness. The darkness is where that power lies also. So on one side, one dynamic is going to be seeking control, whereas the other is going to be aiming to alchemize the darkness instead of control over the darkness and using it in a negative way or manipulative way, right? So there will be a call to compassionately nurture ourselves, children, loved ones, and our communities while Lilith is in Cancer. And also we're going to be having this energy where we could see certain things play out where manipulation with women, within the home or within, mothering, that kind of thing kind of plays out over this time. But overall, giving ourselves permission to slow down and embrace self-care will assist us in shifting this workload that we have that, this energy might be bringing up. Also, we might be finding that more women and more, feminine energies are embracing their femininity. They are embracing that goddess energy, right? So with that, we can allow the masculine energy to help with this load, right? So that is that on Lilith in Cancer. Now, moving forward, we have Mars entering into Pisces the day before the full moon in Libra. So first, Mars in Pisces happens April 15th all the way through to May the 24th. So for the next 6 weeks, we have Mars in Pisces. Mars is joining Venus, Jupiter, and Neptune that are all in Pisces. So it's creating this massive stellium of planets in the sign of Pisces. So it's a large focus on spirituality, creativity, and healing right now, okay? And this is enhancing our creative motivations. This is enhancing our spiritual evolution and the healing that's happening within. Most definitely on a cellular level, right? Mars and Pisces on a lower vibration can be passive aggressive, but ultimately the goal of Mars and Pisces is to ambitiously heal with compassion. So during this transit, we will experience situations of self-sacrificing, spiritual warfare is going to be a thing. We might even see war that happens in the ocean, right? Like, you know, naval kind of energies, you know, with this situation that we have with Ukraine and Russia. So you never know. Either way, this is going to be some hard hitting healing, basically. We can use this energy to focus on our artistry, our physical healing, mental healing, right? Because, you know, Pisces is the ruler of the subconscious, and even, you know, the mental health aspect of it, right? So we could use this energy for that. Mars can initiate just as well as it can eliminate. So there's a chance for some subconscious patterns to be released over the next 6 weeks. Our self-sabotaging behaviors are going to come to the forward focus. They're going to come up to the surface. And, you know, those self-sabotaging mindsets could be brought into our awareness. So that way we can actively work on healing these things, getting to the root cause of it, right? Getting it within our psyche and paying attention. So, you know, speaking of paying attention, make sure you focus on the actions of others, as hidden enemies could surface as well, because that Pisces Mars energy could be some aggression going on, okay? Now, full moon at 26 degree Libra. Okay, this happens on April the 16th, and this is the big energy for this week, on top of that Neptune and Jupiter conjunction that you can find the video elsewhere. So this full moon in Libra, 26 degrees. All right, Libra focuses on what brings harmony and balance in our lives. And that full moon in Libra is going to be illuminating the areas of our lives that contribute to an imbalance, okay? It is time for us to take a stand and recognize the tension, right? See where we have been strained and pulled in different directions, where we are stretched too thin, and witness what is creating the strife in our life, okay? Under this influence of this full moon, secrets are most definitely going to be illuminated, because it's squaring powerful Pluto, and Pluto is in Capricorn, and it's forcing all these things out of the shadows, right? The mysteries that are held within our subconscious, they're going to be brought into our consciousness, okay? So don't worry too much about all of that. It's necessary, right? It's going to be some kind of upheaval, but it's necessary, right? Because we have this wonderful trine to Saturn that's happening in Aquarius, and it's here to assist us in understanding what needs to be done under this, so to speak, kind of like crisis kind of vibe. Okay, now Saturn will help us to restructure and build a new foundation. You know, the foundation that's in alignment with our integrity and our futures, right? So, you know, we are encouraged to work to create harmony in our lives, you know, that Libra ruled area of our charts, and collectively and as well as individually, we have to be willing to let go, right? Full moons are a time for releasing. We have to be willing to release what no longer aligns with our values or our integrity. Keeping a tight grip on these things is only going to continue the cycle that creates imbalance and discord. Okay, it's time for us to use this energy that Saturn is here with to take responsibility for the realities that we've made, while recognizing how these items are holding us back from obtaining and reaching our destiny and having those desires, right? Now, also something to consider is that, yes, we have this moon, the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Libra, but also we have Eris, right? Which is the asteroid that caused Pluto to get demoted to a dwarf planet. So Eris, not Eros, not to be confused with the asteroid Eros, is Eris, E-R-I-S, and Eris is known as the goddess of strife and discord, and it's creating these dynamics, right? And it's kind of like something must a crisis must happen on one end in order to save another aspect, right? So that kind of thing. And when you think about Aries and kind of like putting it into perspective, what it represents is like the I read a wonderful analogy of this. It's like the mother who finds the strength to lift the car off of the child that is pinned underneath the car. So yes, in turn, you destroy the vehicle, right? There's a crisis that is occurring, right? There must be a car accident or something that has happened to have the child pinned, right? But you find the strength to lift it up, lift that car up off that baby so you can save your child. And you're creating and you're saving another dynamic that is far more valuable than whatever else has gotten destroyed or, is done. So this full moon, the sun is going to be very close in conjunction to Aries. And also keep in mind that Chiron is in Aries as well. So the sun, Aries, and Aries, the sun, Aries, and Chiron are all there in the sign of Aries, very close in connection, and they are opposite this moon. So it's like, hey, I know this thing is bringing you comfort, but it's also bringing you strife and discord. Can't you see? Let it go. So that's what this moon is going to be telling us, right? Like you could even be feeling it today, like whenever you get this before the moon, right? So anytime like 3 to 4 days before the actual illumination of the moon to 3 to 4 days after the moon peaks. So, things are going to be panning out and manifesting over time, but we have, some beautiful energy that's there to assist us through whatever crisis or situations that might come up. But there's a need and we need to recognize what is holding us back. And it's basically taking the responsibility, right? Because that Saturn energy is all about being responsible, taking the responsibility for what we've created, being responsible in the ways that we have operated, right? So depending on where Libra falls in your chart, and if you're looking to know that information, you know where to find me, but depending on where this is falling in your chart, you might be seeing some crisis, and it could be an emotional crisis, a mental crisis, like a psychological crisis, or even a spiritual crisis, maybe a financial. It could be something that's happening or manifesting in reality that's causing you to let something go because it is holding you back, is stretching you too thin. It is not allowing the harmony to live and breathe within your everyday life. So that is what I have on this moon. Okay. And if you are looking to see how this moon manifests for you, you can either choose to buy the $10 reading for the April, because we talk about this moon in those readings, or you can hit me up for a, astrology reading. Yep. And that's all I got. So that is this week. Next week, what do we have going on for week 3? We have the sun entering into Taurus. So it's the start of Taurus season next week. We got a few things popping off, but that's one of the big energies, the start of Taurus season. So we'll talk about that. And then, we'll wrap up the rest of the month thereafter. We have a lot of things going on the very last week of April, from April 24th to the 30th. So make sure you tune in for that. All right. So that's all that I have for you. I hope this coming week is beautiful and everything works out. Just remember to let go and to maintain that self-awareness, right? That's key. All right. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week and a happy, happy full moon release. Bye.